Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Utterly Unscripted. I kind of forgot where I was there for a second. I've been busy. Today, I am joined by Stopher Cavens, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself because he has a lot to tell us. Hi, Stopher. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, my name's Stopher Cavens. Reside in LA, and I'm a psychic medium.
Fantastic. I've been excited to talk to you because I found you, I actually approached you, which is very different for me these days. And I'm not bragging, but I tend not to do that. I tend not to reach out to people anymore because I'm just overwhelmed by requests. So I don't need to. But I was very excited to find you because there's more to you than just being a psychic medium. So, what is your story? You haven't always been in LA.
No, very much not. And I'm actually very flattered that you reached out to me. So it's
Thank
because
you.
I'm special.
You are.
So yeah, my story. I am actually a Midwestern boy that let me back up. I am a gay Midwestern boy that grew up in the 1980s. So
Uh-huh.
imagine how great and fun that was. Growing up in the whole Irish Catholic family and all that good conservative stuff.
Oh, holy
So that's
shit.
kind of where the journey started. Not easy, not super fun.
No,
And we
it
can
doesn't
talk about
sound
all the
like it.
trauma later.
I get it. I can identify with it. There's probably a lot of people, as you would know, you and I are in a similar. I think we're in the same age bracket, is what they call it
Yes,
these days. So if you tick the box, you and I are ticking that same box.
we
So
are. There's a range, right?
yes, that's right. And I don't like the ranges that they give, but
None of them are good.
no, they're not. But I get it because I too grew up Catholic. Roman Catholic. I have had an Italian grandfather, went to a Catholic school, and as gay as the day is long. I knew that already for a long time, although I never admitted it early. Um, Everybody used to say it, and even family members after I came out would say, "Oh, we knew all along. I was a dancing fairy." So
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yeah.
no, I can remember back to, I guess, age 8 is when I can remember back and really kind of connecting with thinking that boys were really cute.
Mhm.
And actually helping an auntie who's only maybe about 8 years older than me. We would kind of go boy hunt, and I would, tell her,
At 8?
oh, that guy's cute. Go, I was 8, she was 16, and we were buddies. And
Uh-huh.
nothing more than just like, oh, he's cute. He's cute. No, he's not.
Right.
And I knew what I trust that I knew what I was talking about because I really
Yeah.
felt the energy of that guy's really cute, or
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he's not.
I get it. No, I can totally relate to that. What is it like? I know what it was like here, but you said Midwest, and automatically people associate that with Bible Belt. Is that what it was like for
Yes,
you? I mean, you
so
were
very
Irish
much.
Catholic.
Yeah, so it's a very conservative area, specifically Evansville, Indiana. Shout out.
I have
And
actually heard of that before, that place.
yeah, it's like a
How funny. Hmm.
semi-metropolitan area, but it's surrounded by farms.
Mm.
And it's one of these Midwestern cities. They're like there's a church on every corner, and they're on the opposite corner. There's a bar, right? Um,
Oh, it's
and
Adelaide.
it's just yeah, it's fun. But yeah, it's just extremely conservative, which is fine if that's your bag. But if you're kind of a forward thinking, or if you're not, you know, if you're a little different, then it is difficult. But
Mm.
lots of hunting, fishing. We call
Ugh.
them, and I don't mean to offend anyone because these are my people. We call them Hicks.
Oh, do it anyway. I love that
Yeah,
word.
rednecks, Hicks, whatever. But
Rednecks, yeah.
with the gun rack in the back of the truck, like
Oh, yeah.
these are the people I grew up with. These are the people I went to school with.
Okay.
And I was so far in the closet in high school because I had my good friend growing up. Um, he was a little more effeminate. He could not hide who he was.
Yeah.
Um, where I spent a lot of time hiding who I was. And
Mm.
I mean, he was a tough kid. He had two older sisters, and this kid could fight, but he went through so much hell, um, just because he was a little bit of a sissy. Or
Yeah,
that's how he
yeah.
presented, and it just pushed me in the closet even more because I just knew I wasn't built to
You
deal with
saw how
that.
he was yeah, you saw what he was going through. I can relate to
Yeah,
that.
and I think he was built to deal with it a little bit better. I was not. I was not, didn't want to deal with that confrontation, didn't want to deal with that
Mm,
embarrassment. So yeah, it was confusing. So
mm.
confusing I got married when I was in my 20s to a woman.
I did that too. Holy shit.
You
It's like I'm
did?
talking to
We had the same
myself.
wife.
I did. Oh, I don't want to tell that story. I might get in trouble. But the person that I married actually passed away, so it's not. That's not the story. But she and I were really good friends. She was a lesbian, and I wonder if I should use a fake name just in case, like the INS is listening,
You
because
know I'm a
I
psychic
actually married
medium,
her
right?
for a green card. Not for you. I mean, as in, like, if the INS is listening.
Got it.
I would like to come back one day. So I married her for the green card. It never actually eventuated, funny enough. We just never took that next step. So
Mm,
I lived in the US illegally, which they know about because I've had to tell them. And I lived there for quite a few years. And then when she died, I was faced with a whole different range of options that I could have taken advantage of, and I still didn't do it again. I kick myself quite a lot because I probably should have. Getting a green card was one of my biggest goals in life. Still is actually.
yeah,
Um, but things have changed now, and we didn't have any kids. You did.
I did.
But hey, do you like that? Do you like being a parent? Was that what you wanted for yourself?
Um, not. I mean, I guess I was okay with it. It
Was it a
wasn't planned
goal?
for sure.
Wasn't a goal? Mhm.
And it was definitely like taught to me that that's
Yeah.
the whole Southern Indiana thing is you grow up, get married, have kids, have the white
Mhm.
picket fence, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was good with it. It was fun. I didn't have a traditional because me and baby mama split. It
Mm.
didn't work out for reasons other than me being a homo, right?
Okay.
um, I mean that was part of it. I take my participation
It
in
was
that.
part of it. Okay.
Um, but yeah, and I'm glad I did it young because now I'm in my early 40s and my kids are grown. I have grandchildren already, and I get to kind of live my 20s and my 40s, and which is cool because I have more money now, so it's great.
Yeah, that also helps. What was it like for you, because this isn't what I wanted to talk about, although you do talk about LGBTIQ plus
Mm,
issues, but what was it like for you what's the right word? Back when you and I were younger, it was called coming out, but I don't think they like that word anymore. That's the collective
really,
they. I don't believe so. I believe there's another way of putting it. People get
but I
now
think
offended saying, "How did you come out?" But it's not actually coming out anymore.
but I think you and I are grandfathered in.
Yeah, you're the
I'm
grandfather.
really grandfather. I'm really grandfathered in because I'm actually a grandfather of
Yeah,
humans.
yeah, of real people. Yeah,
So my story of announcing, whatever you want to call it,
yeah.
I guess you're asking me how that went or when it
Well,
happened.
because you mentioned you have an Irish Catholic family. You were married. So you also said that when you were 8 years old, you already had this realization. So when did it click to you that maybe this was what you needed to do? And what were the factors that took you to that point? If they're not too personal, you don't have to like deep dive
Mm,
or anything.
no, no, I'm in it to win it here. So yeah, the realization started at 8, but full disclosure, I'm a late bloomer. So I got
Mhm.
around to coming out when I was about 25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I did the whole marriage thing, had the kids, and then found a partner. We met online, and he moved from California to
Oh, holy
where
shit.
I was living in Indiana.
That's huge.
Um, and so he was my quote roommate for a while, and
Uh-huh.
you know how that goes.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where it was serious. He wasn't moving back to California. The visit turned into moving in, and
Mhm.
it was just like I knew I was in love with him. I knew this was I could finally see a future with another man, because to that point it
Mm,
was a little bit more of a casual sex and that kind of thing, or kind of testing the waters with relationships, whatever it was. But this was the first time I could
mhm,
really see myself moving forward in a long term relationship. So I
mhm.
told my mother, actually, I told my auntie, the one that I used to ride around with and
Uh-huh.
talk
Yep.
about hot boys. We were going to college together at the little community college, and we had like a computer lab or something together. And so I knew I was going to test it out on her, because she was the super open, super, whatever goes. And of course, it landed well. And
Yeah.
she was just like, "Really?" I was like, "Mary, I used to tell you what boys were cute. Come on."
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so I just was kind of testing it with her to see how she thought my mother and my grandmother would react. And she thought that they would not react well because of the
Mhm.
religious connection.
Yeah. That's where
It
I
turned
was
out
going
it
with it.
was fine. I told my mother on like Easter Sunday, I
Oh,
forget what
holy
year it
cow.
was, but I was 25 years old. So do the
At
math.
least it wasn't
Um,
Thanksgiving.
right. For Christmas. I
Yeah.
like to do things on holidays, but
You ruined Christmas.
yeah, but I'll always remember I pulled her into her bedroom and I told her how to talk to her about something. I told her, and it was kind of a weird remark, but she goes, "Are you sure?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was just awkward, which I expect out of my mother. Because here's the thing: we never even talked about my heterosexual relationships. It wasn't something that
Mhm.
was really on
Mhm.
the table. So the fact that we don't really talk, or we didn't talk much about that, was kind of
Yeah.
on par.
Mm.
But she kind of, I was like, I'm not really going to tell anybody. You feel free to tell the family, whatever. You can spread it and
Okay.
just tell them it is what it is.
It's your news.
Um,
Yeah.
and I've kind of just grown into it with my family. Nobody ever had a problem with it. I'm married now, not to the same person. I'm married to someone else now, a man, and
Mhm.
they love him. My mom calls him her son. I mean, it's fine.
That's good. Did
Um,
you I wanna talk about your abilities. Um, and actually, I'm really careful about that because I don't like to call them a gift, and I've spoken to many people who work in the same field as you, and there are people who call it a gift, but I prefer, if it's okay, just to call it abilities. Um, because I think everybody has an opportunity to be in tune with those abilities. It's everyone is
right.
wired in similar ways, and it's whether or not you embrace the ability or not. And so to call it a gift makes it seem like it's a bit exclusive. Um, it is exclusive because I probably couldn't do the job that you do. Well, maybe I could. I don't know.
I think you could. I feel it. I feel that you could, Jesse.
Been there, done that.
I always
In
say that
fact,
we all have the ability. We all have the ability, but we're not all
yeah,
built to do
right.
it. Right. So that's kind
Yes,
of where
yeah.
the difference is. And there's also a lot of work that goes into it. So
Heaps of
there's
work, heaps
there's
of
that
work.
too.
I'm going to be I actually have been invited to be a guest on someone's podcast. It's the first time because I'm usually the host and I invite you guys to come to me. So I'm going to be on someone else's podcast, and it is about my journey of putting up walls and blocking the abilities that I seemed to have had, I guess. Went through a traumatic experience and just didn't feel like it was working for me. So I put up the
Mhm.
walls and started closing myself off. So I had gone from very young, my grandmother gave me a set of tarot cards. When I say very young, I was like
Wow.
10. She gave me a set of tarot cards. And then an auntie of mine gave me some crystals and things. And that really did begin my journey into the light without dying. And I haven't died yet. So, well,
I can
I
tell.
have many times apparently, but not this time. And I'm saying these things all with a very light-hearted, whimsical sort of throwaway kind of attitude, and I don't mean to. It's just that I think that is another aspect of my blocking things. Maybe I thought when I was younger, so I thought my feelings. Oh shit! I just hit the microphone. Sorry. Um, when I was growing up and doing my coming out thing, I had premonitions about how people would react.
Mm,
Very deep, deeply felt, strong premonitions about how people would react to my coming out. And I tested it the similar way that you did, was with my cousin first, whom I was very close with, was like my twin at the time.
right.
Unfortunately, in true Gemini style, we don't talk anymore. She's the true Gemini of the relationship. Um, for anyone who doesn't know, she's a two-faced bitch. So
And then there's that.
yeah, there was that. But she was cool with it. But then my premonitions started to come true. My grandparents stopped talking to me, just like not the ones who gave me the tarot cards, the other ones. They stopped talking to me. My uncles and aunties all started talking about me, and they were talking about me privately but loud enough that I could hear. And then when I would come into the room, they would stop talking. There was all this awkward silence and all this other shit. Then I decided that I probably should tell my mother before the news got to her, because it was the other side of the family that were doing all this really crappy shit. Um, my premonition was that mum would be okay, but my grandfather, who was the Roman Catholic Italian, would struggle. And actually, he came around pretty quickly, quicker than I thought that he would. But my mother's reaction was, yeah, do you think I was born in the last shower? Like, literally, that's what she said to me. I was on the phone to her, and I was living in a different state, and said I had to go. I was going out, and she's like, "Oh, you going? What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going out to meet someone for dinner." "Oh, what's his name?" And I went, "Huh?
Yeah, she
Like
was onto
what?"
it.
She was cool with it. She was fine with it. Yeah, perfectly fine. And that was my experience, because after my mother knew, everyone could know, and I didn't give a shit anymore, because my premonitions were only to do with my family, and it all went exactly as I found that I felt that it would. Now things are a little bit better, but I don't trust them so much anymore.
Mm. And
Again,
why? I
probably a little bit of my blocks.
was gonna say we got some guards up. We got some
Yeah.
some blocks.
A few.
I
Just a
I
few.
just recently shed a lot of my guards and ego and all that through my spiritual journey. So
Mm.
I kept those intact for a very long time. They were my
Mhm.
protection. My those were my guides that I used to use. Was
Yeah.
was my
Yeah.
ego. I used to let my ego guide me, and since I've let that go, it's been a better journey for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But did you find that you needed them during the time that you had them? Like, I feel as though the guards that I have are very necessary for the period of my life that I'm in right now.
I mean, I feel like I have to think that way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
otherwise it was a waste.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
So I want to believe that, yeah, it
But then you could
served
be
me.
honest with yourself.
Right. Yeah. I wasted time being angry and being, judgmental and which I'm sure there's plenty of that. I'm sure I could have come around sooner, but yeah, there is a
Mm.
process to it. And there's meeting certain people that are going to support you. I mean, my husband, I mean, the stuff he put up with in the beginning of our relationship, nothing major, there was no major like
Mhm.
treachery, so to speak. But
Mhm.
just me just not really being easy to live with or being like as
Yeah.
happy as I could be,
Okay.
easy to please, and just kind of always guarded. I mean, that must have been tough on him, but he's a freaking saint. And he
Mm.
just as much as I would push him away, he would just love me that much harder. So
That's
I'm
good.
really, really thankful
You're
for him
lucky.
being in my
Mm.
life. And now that I've kind of opened up, I think I surprise him every day. He's like, "Who the hell are you? And what'd you do with Stopher?"
Yeah, right. What is it that you do? Let's talk about that, because we're just chatting away about guarding and putting all these walls up and stuff. You've said you're a psychic medium. That's not where it
Yes.
ends. Your website will tell people that, but what do you have, like, a favorite go-to thing? Is there an ability in your arsenal that you practice every day, or that you use more than the others, or that you prefer to do more than the others, or is it not like that for you?
Yeah, that now you got me thinking. That's a
That's
very
good.
good question. Um, yeah, so I'm pretty standard with the psychic medium, and some people like shy. You're talking about. I don't think they say this anymore, and this
Yeah.
word. I'm pretty clunky with my words. It's just like, what is it? Psychic medium. That's what I
Oh, well,
am.
I am too. Just on the podcast, I don't like the nasty messages that I get. I don't really give a shit. Actually, I'm perfectly okay. Like if you want to swear at me and you want to send me all
Right,
the and if you want to give me a negative review, please give me a negative. I don't care because I say stuff that's true to my heart. However, the stuff that I don't say are the things that are unnecessarily hurtful to
right.
people. And I've had some guests who will never their episodes will never see the light of day because, they're calling, one person in particular, I hope he's listening, his episode will never ever come to air because he kept calling people retarded. And that's just
No,
not okay. Like that's
no.
just not okay. And no matter how many times I said to him, please, guy, that wasn't his name. But please, guys, stop saying that. You cannot keep saying that. Like, if you keep fucking saying that, I'm gonna cut you off. And I don't want to be upset with the world, but I'll say whatever I want. I'm very mouthy. So
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
mince
and
words. I just say it like it is.
in that situation, you were definitely right for being mouthy.
Mm,
But yeah, so going back to, yeah, psychic medium, it's pretty straightforward. What I do really is, I'm just blend when I sit with somebody. Let's say I'm sitting with you, and you're asking me to either bring through a loved one, um, in spirit to communicate, or to connect with you directly in order to bring through like what I call psychic information, or just kind of figure out what's going on with you and your energy. And
mm-hmm,
I always ask permission. It's
mm-hmm.
very like 2022. I always ask permission, even if somebody's paid me already. I when I start off the
Of
meeting, I
course.
say, "Do I have permission to connect with you and your loved ones in spirit?"
Mm-hmm,
And then what I'm doing is I'm blending. I'm asking for permission to blend with your soul. So I'm
mm,
opening and making myself vulnerable on a spiritual level.
mm-hmm,
And the more my sitter is open and vulnerable, I just blend our souls. Our lights basically come together. And
mm-hmm.
then I just kind of shut off my own lists and my own worries and my own understandings,
Mm,
of
yeah.
things and my day to day. I shut it off, and then I see what I feel. And I can kind
Mm-hmm,
of go back into the past. I can go all the way back into when you were in the womb and feel energies. Um, and sometimes I can go
mm,
further. I can go into other lifetimes.
okay.
Um, and then I can, see what's going on now. I can kind of feel into forward moving energy to see how things might play out in the near future.
Mm-hmm,
Um, some people might call them predictions. I'm just really kind of seeing how things are flowing. That's what it feels like to
yeah.
me. And then I'm really doing the same when I connect medium mystically with spirit. I'm just connecting with that light. It just, for me, it comes from the side. When I'm connecting with my
Mm,
sitter directly, it's more of a heart to heart. It's
mm-hmm,
more of a forward energy in between us. And then when spirit comes in, I feel them like almost like someone's whispering to me in my ear on the side.
okay.
So that's kind of how I know. I have like little rules of, okay, if this happens, it's this, X, Y, and Z. Little roadmaps.
Yeah.
I can connect with pets.
I was gonna ask you
So
about
that
that. It's on your website.
that is really cool because usually when I feel that energy, I feel it. For me, it's lower, so that feels like a kid. A lot of times, I think it's a
Oh,
kid because
okay.
it comes in lower. And then once I sit with it for a minute and get more information, I always laugh. It always brings me so much joy when I have like a little fur baby.
Oh,
Um, and I feel like those messages, when I get animals come in, those messages to the sitter are so healing because there's so much
mm,
love attached to that animal and so much responsibility
yeah.
attached to that animal and what happened with it, and just its whole life. So those are
Mm,
really cool readings when it's unexpected and the animal comes in.
absolutely. Anyone who looks at my TikTok will see that I'm pretty into animals. So,
For sure. Yeah, I have
how
one dog just because that's
oh,
all I can really manage right now.
yeah. Well, I have 2 dogs, I have a cat, I have 2
Mm.
ferrets, I have 2 birds, a lorikeet no, they're 2 parrots, a lorikeet and a kakariki parrot, which is from New Zealand. Yeah, there's lots of animals around here.
That's like a hobby farm.
Yeah, I live on 13 acres.
Oh, nice.
I actually do live on a farm.
Makes sense.
I wanted to ask you about if a client, you call them sitters, which I actually really like that word.
Yeah.
If they come to you for a reading, first of all, how confident are you that you can connect to that person?
I'm very confident, and that's something that readers deal with a lot is confident. I think that's the number one thing because the
Mm,
information that's coming in doesn't feel like any other information we receive in our lives, right? For
yeah,
most of
yeah.
us. Unless you're just super clairaudient and you can hear spirit talk to you the way you and I are talking, which is very uncommon. So it comes
Mhm.
in a little bit more in
Is
our
it? Oh.
I it I mean to be that tuned in, yeah, it's kind of uncommon.
Mm.
Um but the way that the information comes in, yeah, it's hard to be confident with it. It really is. But
Yeah.
I just have to trust in spirit,
Mhm.
and the energy and the connection. So yeah, I'm pretty confident.
And how do they present themselves to you? And you know that it's for this person, the sitter who's in front of you?
Yeah, so they come in. Like I say, I've got like little rules. So
Yeah.
if it's a male or if it's dad's side of the family, anything male related is going to come in on my right side.
Ah,
So
okay. Yeah.
I'll usually get a vibration or I'll feel like somebody's standing on my right side. And then the
Mhm.
opposite, obviously, for female energy.
Mhm.
And then also, I'm not doing it right now, but when I'm in readings, my hands take over. So,
I
and,
do
and
that
it's
all the
kind of like
time.
maybe like a Tai Chi kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I normally don't talk with my hands a lot, honestly.
I have an
Um,
Italian grandfather. I'm European through to the bone, so it's just in the blood.
Yeah, so during readings, I turn into an Italian man, and my
Uh-huh.
hands just like go all over the place. So, like say if an older gentleman that presents as grandfather comes in, my hands will go up, and that's how
Mhm.
I know it's more of an authoritative figure, a mother, a father. And then if
Okay.
it's a contemporary or a sibling, I'm more in the middle, and so my
Mhm.
hands kind of
Mhm.
direct some of that too. But it's really a feeling. It's really just like a connection that I feel, and it's hard to describe. Um, but I can really
Mm.
just feel into the amount of love, the connection, or if there was distance, or if
Mm.
there was a feud or turmoil. I can feel all of that, and I guess that's kind of the
Okay.
empathic side.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
remember, I'm connecting with their light. I'm actually. I always say I'm swimming in their energy, and sometimes when I'm really connected, I honestly feel like I'm moving back and forth, like I'm in a pool.
That's a nice, well, it's a nice feeling.
It For
It's a
the most part,
nice,
yeah, it's wonderful.
yeah, for the most part.
Depends on who I'm
Um,
connected with, right?
yeah, yeah, well, that's true. That's true. So, obviously, we don't have an audience live or anything like that. So, if you do pick up on anything, oh, why does it say you're muted?
I don't know. Can you hear me? Oh,
I
it
can hear
does.
you. I'm gonna keep going because your waveform is still there. I can cut that little bit out. Um,
Okay.
it just for some reason it said you were muted, so I hope that it's picked up the whole 30 minutes that we've been talking.
Yeah, I saw the icon with had like a slash to it, so it did
Across
look
through
like
it,
it was me.
yeah. But, I could hear you and the waveform has been going, so we're good. We'll keep going. Otherwise,
Okay,
I'll have
good.
to have you back again at another time.
We'll do it all over
Excuse me.
again.
Yeah. Well, no, we'll do something different, but I wouldn't make you do it all over again. So what I what I was going to say, we don't have a live audience and things like that, and I actually really don't like those kinds of shows. I feel like it puts too much pressure on you. But if you were picking up on anything whilst we're talking, I do welcome you to bring
Okay,
that in for the audience. It's up to you. You don't have to. I'm just saying you can.
got it.
Um, but what I wanted to ask you was, um, what did your family think about you doing this? Because you've had the whole coming out experience saying that you're gay. Now, well, historically speaking, Catholics in particular don't love this kind of stuff.
Correct. So,
Was
earlier
this
I had
coming out
mentioned
all
my
over again?
it is, and I have a lot of friends who are mediums and also gay. So, we always joke about our coming out twice.
Yeah.
Um, but lucky for me, and it even kind of came into play with coming out as a homosexual to my family. I had mentioned before I had an auntie who's only 8 years older than me,
Mm.
um, and she was actually my oldest aunt. And
Oh,
then I
okay.
had another one named Deborah who she's in spirit now. She was maybe 5 or 6 years older than me, 6 or 7, something
Okay.
like that. And then my uncles, I have three uncles in between them, right? So they were much more like siblings. And lucky for me, they had went, especially my aunties, they had put the family through all kinds of different new experiences. They were dating outside the race and outside the religion, and just
Wow.
doing different things like that, and just they had a bunch of gay friends, so they were around. So there was a little bit of a softening. And then my
Mhm.
auntie Deborah was actually a tarot card reader.
Okay.
Um, and she works with, I actually feel it right now. She's with me at almost always, especially during readings. She passed away in 2014. So I kind of took the torch as the weirdo in the family, which is fine.
Okay.
Um, it was very similar to my coming out as gay. It was kind of like, okay, and then we don't talk
Yeah.
about it, or but I see them, they support me on social media. They'll like different posts, or they my grandmother puts comments on some of my blogs,
Oh, good.
so they're supportive to a degree. I mean, it's not, they're not holding pom-poms and cheering for me, but yeah. it
They
was it
probably
was pretty
are.
good. I've a really, we're not the most like tight knit family as far as like that warmth.
Mhm.
um, our love language is more through humor, but
Mm.
definitely very supportive. I'm lucky to have a family that doesn't really judge too much.
That's good. That is good. What was it like? I think we were going to talk about this before, and we went off onto something else. But um, I wanted to know about. We talked about rednecks and that kind of thing. Was life was
We're
life
circling back
different?
around.
Yeah, just a little bit. Because you grew up in the 80s and 90s, which I did too. So we grew up in a very similar time. Where I grew up was suburban. Uh, I never knew about the country until we moved out to the farm when I was about 12 years old.
Hmm.
So those really formative years were in the suburbs. Um, we had neighbors who would come in to your house, but it was a different time then. You wouldn't have that now, where your neighbors just
Right.
walk on in. Now they probably get shot, especially in the US.
Definitely here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's scary, right? But was it scary then too?
What, when people just walk into the house?
Not so much the people walking into the house, just back then, like in the 80s and 90s, was it as scary then as it is now? Was it a
um,
different kind of scary maybe?
I mean, being I'm just like not understanding, like being gay
Sorry.
and living in that area, or just living
Anything
in
at
that
all.
area.
Just living in that
Um,
area. Yeah. It's
yeah, I
it's
mean, the word
completely not foreign to me because I lived in Southwest Louisiana, so that's like
okay,
as
I can.
deep south as you can go. Um, there was only one town further south from me. That was it. So I was in the deep of the South where back down there, they call them, coonasses, the Cajuns.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the bayou. Is that called the
Oh, it's
bayou?
the bayou. Yeah, it was the bayou. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of that. It sounds
Swampland.
horrible. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. No offense to you folks in Louisiana listening.
Oh, look, I don't know anyone
Yeah,
there anymore.
it's interesting you say the word scary. I guess I never thought of it as scary, but my word that I usually use is confusing for me.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it's because I knew who I was, and it didn't quite match up with what I saw
Mm.
or was taught. But yeah, I guess scary because I mean, it was scary enough to cause me to really like shield myself and hide myself, and
Mm.
be very careful about, I mean, the way I walked, the way I talked, the way I dressed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, sure, scary. I was afraid I was going
I
to
mean,
get
I
beat
just
up every
think of
day.
Yeah, that's what well, for me, see, I'd come from the suburbs and I'd gone to a Catholic school, so bullying, there was zero tolerance, even
Yep.
though I was still bullied and, I
Right.
was called a girl and my name is Jessie and, "Oh, your name's Jessie," which is a very popular boy's name in the United States, as people now
It
know.
is.
And I don't even know who I was named after, but, you know, for that type of thing. But then moving to the country, it was a scary time for me. It was 1993, and I was frightened. I literally would walk out the door thinking I was going to be murdered by a strange pig or, a farmer who would have a gun and was shooting things. And it was a strange time for me growing up.
Yeah, that actually happens over here
I
a
know
lot
it.
more than it
Yeah.
should. Where yeah, people are hunting
Yeah.
and then they just accidentally get shot because someone
Ugh.
else was shooting at something else allegedly.
No one can hunt here where I am, thank gosh. But, because it's pretty much open and flat. There's
Mm,
nothing can hide.
right.
If you
That
get
makes
shot,
sense.
they were aiming for you.
Yeah, there was no accident there. There's no way.
No, I just think of kids now in this day and age, like kids now in 2022, and the shit that they're going through is so different. But we as kids in the 80s and 90s, were we thinking similarly? Did we find things strange? Did you use your abilities already back then, maybe without even comprehending that you had them?
I very much did not.
No.
And I can think, I don't know if not to go too deep, but there is like a major trauma that happened to me when I was about 7 or 8. It was
Mhm.
an instance of sexual abuse at the hands of my
Yeah.
stepfather.
Oh,
And
Christ.
I do a lot of like going back and kind of soul discovery on some of my traumas. But I can specifically remember him calling me from the other room when all this happened and getting
Mhm.
the weirdest feeling, and I didn't listen
Mm.
to it. Of course, what do you want? Go into the room, and
Yeah, of
bad things
course.
happened, and it was just awkward and weird. But
Yeah.
I that was one of my first feelings of like a gut feeling, like something's off.
Mhm.
So no, I did not use it that time. There was another time when I just know something was going to happen, and I actually ran out of the house. So
Uh-huh.
um,
Yeah.
I just didn't know what it was, but yeah, that gut feeling to where it just takes you over, like, and it makes you feel
Mm.
like physically different. So I
Intuition.
do remember that happening on a few times. One time I listened to it, one time I did not.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, a lot of these things I didn't develop until more recently, to be honest.
Mm. Mhm.
But yeah, it was definitely there in a strong way. But no, I don't think I did listen to it, and that's probably why I went through so much crap.
Yeah, but I think not that I want to dwell on your trauma, but I think also a lot of those things that happen to us as kids, they do build us into who we are. Because we can either let it
Hmm.
consume us and become everything that we're about, or we can be stronger, we can be smarter, we can listen to our intuition, listen to our empathic abilities, and you know, grow. And I like to call it evolving, which we do every day. We evolve all the time. I want to talk about your blog. Is that okay? Can we talk about that now? I didn't want to talk about
Yes,
your trauma because I've been
nothing
through
is off the
trauma too.
table.
But yeah, um, why did you why did you start the blog?
Um, But, because well, I love writing for one thing, and that was kind of also part of my healing was to start writing again and it was so therapeutic. So there was
Hmm.
that. It also helped with my developing my abilities because a
Okay.
lot of that was inspired writing. Um, so if I'm talking about something that's in the past, I'm actually like going back energetically, not
Hmm.
just in my human brain. I'm actually going back and feeling and reliving that from a spiritual, energetic kind of standpoint and seeing it completely different.
Yeah.
So I needed an outlet for that, and the inspired writing was really good for that. Um, and I just feel like I've been through so much, and there's something there that's going to help someone.
Mm.
So whether it's talking about trauma or an experience, being kicked out of the Navy for being gay. Um,
Oh yeah, shit. I wanted to talk to you about that. Oh God,
yeah,
keep
yeah, we
going.
can talk about that.
Sorry.
But
See, this is what happens when you don't take notes.
or even just living like even just living really guided by ego for so long, I think a lot of people can understand those different stories,
Yeah.
and benefit. If I can just help one or two people, that's pretty cool.
The blog, because you call yourself an intuitive blogger, and I wonder, uh did that help you deal with your own trauma somewhat?
100%. Yeah. And a lot of stuff I write about my trauma is written down in books and not yet
Mhm,
published to the blog. I
mhm.
just have to, and it will be eventually, but it's not that it's personal. I don't want to share. I just have to connect with the timing of it,
Yeah,
So
sure.
there's a little bit of being guided by spirit on that. But yeah. So a lot of the stuff, the trauma I've written down in my notebooks, and
Mhm,
so healing, because real quick, I call it soul discovery. So I have like a human understanding of what happened, and as humans we're taught, this is good, this is bad, this person's the
mhm,
victim, this
mhm,
person's the perpetrator, and that's all correct and right, that's good.
mhm.
My stepdad was an asshole and he did some crappy stuff, and I was victimized. But when I go back and see it from my soul's journey, which happened way before this life and will continue on way after this human life, um, it's a different. I see it completely differently. I
Mm.
see it through love. I see that him and I were just two people playing a part.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
both going through something, a lesson, learning a lesson, and going through something that maybe we had to pay for in a past life or learn about. Um, so I see it more as like a badge of honor, and the
Mm,
fact that I didn't, end up in psychiatric ward or on medication or even like do something to myself. Um, the
mm.
strength in that is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
So I really wear it as a badge of honor that I got to go through that, instead of
yeah.
saying, I'm a victim and I was weak or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and there are plenty of people, I think, that do go through those types of things, and it can consume them,
Hmm.
and, they are the victim, but they stay the victim, and I think there's a
Right.
lot of power in not being the victim anymore. It's really
Yeah. I always
important
say
to.
I claim it. I claim it as mine.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was my experience. As
Yes.
horrible as it was and confusing as it was, now that
Yeah.
water's under the bridge, that's my experience. That wasn't his. He
Mm.
did, I participated in it on my level, and it's mine, and
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
stronger for it. So yeah,
Yeah, well, and, if you believe in karma, the people who do those things, they've got whatever is coming to them. So, I guess you
well,
have to take a little bit of faith in that as well.
yeah, it didn't end well for him.
That was a menacing little giggle. That was
Well, yeah, no, he's no longer with us.
okay, well, I would cry if he wasn't such a piece of shit. I
I
I
almost
I
feel like I needed.
struggle with that. I look, I have this I definitely have some empathic ability where I can't turn it off, and I feel for people so strongly when they go through these things, and I feel emotion from them. It's even when I put my guard up, when I try to block it all out, somehow these things still get through, and
Mhm,
it's I feel like this platform that we have here is an opportunity to show people who are victims that they don't have to stay a victim. There are ways to grow and evolve out of that cycle of being a victim, because your whole life doesn't need to be consumed by it, and it doesn't have to be defined by that one moment in time. That I'm not taking anything away from it. It was traumatic, it was terrible, and I
mhm.
hate the people who did it to you, but don't let it be everything that you are. So talking about it is good. I feel though sometimes that people don't want to talk about it. Why don't they want to talk about it?
I don't know. I've always talked about it. I mean, of course, I didn't tell anybody until I was like 14. This happened when I was like 7 or
Right.
8.
Mhm.
Um, and it's funny. It's interesting to me that I do enjoy talking about it, because one of the first people I told was my mother, and she did not believe me. and that
Ah,
actually was
yeah.
more traumatic than the actual event.
The actual event, yeah.
So yeah, I have abandonment issues as well.
I get that. But you're not the only one. There's so many people that don't speak out because they think that someone won't believe them.
Yeah, that was pretty rough, but yeah, I have no problem talking. I enjoy talking about it, and I have other people I think of that went through similar things, and they can find humor in it, and I don't necessarily
Mm,
joke about it too much, but I have a friend I'm thinking of that he jokes about sexual abuse that happened to him, and that's his way
okay.
of dealing with it, and
He deals
it's
with it that
beautiful
way,
in its
yeah.
own way, right? It's weird, but it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I want people to go to your blog because I feel as though there's a lot of healing there. The website is stophercavins.com. I'm going to put a link to it because as I said, I think that there's a lot of healing. I also kind of feel like if someone is out there listening and you feel as though there's no one who will listen to you, call me. Like, seriously, I don't hide anything. All my information is on utterlyunscripted.com. You can contact me through there. Like, just get in touch with someone. And if you don't want to talk to me, there's a brand new suicide and crisis hotline in the US. It started on July 16th. I don't know if you're aware of it, Stopher. It's now 988. That's the number. It's so easy. You
Easy.
can text that number, you can call that number, you can even go on 988lifeline.org and you can chat with them if you don't want to call and you just want to do a I don't do that because I don't know what I'm talking about. Like what do you call it? What do you call it? Internet chat. You could do an internet
Oh
chat.
yeah.
That's if you're in the US, by the way. So it's 988. Jamie Lee Curtis actually posted about that the other day, and she posted about it on her Instagram. And I have not seen a single other person posting about it because the old suicide awareness hotline is gone. So
Oh wow, I
988.
didn't know that either.
Yeah, because there's no publicizing there like I look at obviously I'm like learning still, but I look at a lot of the celebrity stuff and I see what they're posting about. I see what the hot button issues are and stuff because it makes for some really interesting conversation with some of my guests. But yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis posted about it the other day. She posted a thing and said from July 16th and it's 24/7. You can call anytime 988. You can text the number and now you can chat with them online because it used to be it used to be a 1-800 number, I think.
Mhm.
In Australia,
Yeah.
by the way, if you're listening, 13 11 14 is the number for Lifeline. But if you don't want to talk to them, hey, you might think you know me. You might be listening and you might just want to have a chat and I'm always here. So, and I say that to everybody. I'm always available, but stophercavins.com. Look at the is that your blog is there too, yeah? It was my fated
Yeah,
life,
it's all
yeah.
there. It's a fairly basic website, so you should be able to navigate pretty well. And I just want to extend the same. All my information is on my website, probably even my phone number. Use that
I think my phone
sparingly.
number is there, and yeah.
But I
Just to
do have
remember
people
where I
call.
live.
Yeah, my address. Well, I used to have my address public, but no, I don't do that anymore.
Oh, that's stupid. Don't do that.
But Yeah, so if anybody listening also, same I extend the same thing, if anybody
Yeah.
has you just wants to talk, you can message me through my website, you can text me, you can whatever. Or you can book an appointment. Um,
Yeah, book an appointment.
yeah, so
Tell me
and I have
about an
people.
appointment. What would happen actually, Stopher?
What's that?
Let's say what happens when someone books an appointment. So they've gone to your website and they've booked in to see you. What happens then?
Yeah, so you can go to my website. I usually have I think I have like five different selections. There's like a 30-minute psychic reading, 45-minute reading, or the
Mhm.
like 50, I think it's a 55-minute mediumship reading. Um,
Okay.
Different prices, points. And then you can pick your date and time, and then you pay. I usually accept payment by Venmo, PayPal, whatever. And then we either hop on the phone
I don't know
or
what
we
Venmo is,
hop on a
but
Zoom call. And
is that a
then
US thing?
what's up?
What is that a US thing? Venmo?
Venmo. Yeah, you don't know about Venmo. So it's like a
No,
third
we don't have that
party.
here.
It's like a third party payment application.
Oh, okay.
So it's like Venmo, Cash App. What's the other ones?
Okay.
PayPal. There's like
We
four
have
of them.
PayPal. Okay.
What system do I
Well,
use?
there's PayPal. So just in case you've got people, because well, at the moment, as of yesterday, 56% of our audience is in the US and Canada. But I have quite a large following here in Australia and it's getting bigger. So if
Nice.
anybody is listening and they want to book in with you, we don't have Venmo here. They'll have to pay you by PayPal because we don't do Cash App or anything like that either. We're
Yeah,
so in the dark
it's
ages.
all the same. So you just put in your PayPal account, and then I'll send a request, or vice versa.
Hmm.
Yeah, then we do it by Zoom or we do it by phone call. I
Okay.
can connect as easily with either, either way.
Hmm.
Um, I have a lot of people that want to meet me in person, or meet with me in person, and I don't do that because I don't have a space for that, and I don't want to invite people into
Hmm.
my home.
That's
So,
fair enough.
I find most people are pretty good with the phone or the video chat.
I find it hard to see I know that back in the 90s and early 2000s, going to a psychic at their home was very much the done thing.
Yeah.
And if I still lived at the address that I lived at back in the year 2001, you'd probably be able to find my address there. Please don't go there. Um, I don't live there. I don't live there anymore. But that was the done thing. Now, since COVID and everything, we've
Hmm.
had to rethink how we do things. But I'm sure that there are people out there thinking, well, how do you do it? How do you do a psychic reading with somebody through Zoom or on the phone or whatever? I personally know how it works, but do you get that question a lot from people?
Yeah, I do. People, I think they worry that it's not the same, or it's not as good of a connection. And actually,
Mm,
even I guess more distant, I also offer email readings where all I have is your
mhm,
name, and
mm.
you ask me some questions about what you want to know about, and I can read from there. So, um,
Wow,
you know, I'm
that's pretty cool.
I'm really just connecting with your light. So I mean,
Mm,
it's universal. Our lights are, our souls are part of the universe. We're all connected, and I truly believe that. And I believe that because it's what I feel.
mm.
So I can just kind of, it's almost like plugging into a modem, or that made me sound really old. Plug,
I'm saying nothing. I
some
knew
kind of
exactly what you
technology.
were talking about.
Yeah, plugging into some kind of connected, Wi-Fi,
Aha.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah, now
so
we're
I,
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
yeah, now I moved into the a new decade, but anyway.
It's better now. It's better now than when we first got computers. My first computer had a built-in, uh, dial-up modem. So, you had to
Hmm.
sit there and wait for it to dial in, and I remember going to the US for the first time in 1999. I went by myself. I had just traveled around Europe for the last 28 days or something, and then I thought, "Oh, shit, I need a break." So I went to the US. Went to the US. I spent 14 days in New York City and then flew out to Arizona. And that was the first chance that I had to touch the internet and use the internet. It was AOL.com or something. Um,
You're taking us
AOL,
back.
is that right?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
And you had to wait for it to do the like sounds and whatever. I've been talking to you for a really long time, and I'm painfully aware that it's late now where you are.
It
It
is.
has to be because it's 4 p.m. by me. But you were in the Navy, and
Yes,
it was
sir.
during Don't Ask, Don't Tell, right?
Correct.
What was that like?
Um, it was a lot like living in Southern Indiana during the '80s
Yeah.
as a gay man.
Wow.
um,
Is that why you
it
were
was fun.
discharged?
Yeah, it is. So I joined in the year 2000, right at
Mhm.
the turn of the century, and I was out of the Navy by 2002. So I had just served
Wow.
2 years, and I was out of the Navy. So
Mm.
9/11 happened, all that. It was it was quite an experience. I always say I have a love hate relationship with the Navy because there was like so much hope, and thinking that I'd figured things out with this,
Yeah.
and I really had planned to make a career of it. My
Mm.
uncle was in the Navy. I got stationed in a place that was very close to where he was in New Jersey, and I just thought everything was clicking. And Then I met a boy, and I wanted to learn more about that, and it was a disaster.
As you
And
do.
basically, long story short, I was outed on a ship of 600 people in the middle of the
Oh.
Persian Gulf right after 9/11, and
Oh, man.
uh, and then an investigation took place, and of course, it all came out. And the fact that we had a relationship was a no go for the Navy. So they
Yeah.
actually flew me off of the ship in the middle of war by chopper, by
Oh,
helicopter, onto a aircraft carrier that was in our fleet, and then the next day catapulted us off of the aircraft carrier in a cargo plane off to, I think we landed in Bahrain, and then Amsterdam, and then back to New Jersey. I mean, it was like, get
that's
the hell out of
crazy.
here. We don't want you.
Yeah.
All those great abandonment issues came back up.
I can
Um,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, and then and I wasn't out to my family at the time.
Right.
And then an
Oh,
interesting
shit.
thing that happened when I was sent back to New Jersey. When they kick you out of the Navy, it's a process, so you don't just go straight home. So
Okay.
I actually went back to the base in New Jersey, and I think I arrived at like the middle of the night. And the person that checked me into my barracks was my uncle,
Oh.
who had no clue what was going on because my ship was in the middle of the Persian Gulf, and so I'm sure he saw me on the registry as somebody that was coming in, and then I had to lie to him. He's like, Why are you getting separated
Oh,
from the
so we didn't
Navy?"
even know.
No, he didn't know. He didn't know why. He just
Oh,
knew that I was getting separated, and
wow.
so I did the respectful thing, and I lied to him and told him I got caught doing drugs.
Wow.
It's funny to me that I'd rather tell my family member that I was doing
You were
drugs,
you were on
that I was a
drugs.
druggie, rather than tell him
Yeah.
that I was gay. So
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
course he found out like 2 days later, but whatever.
Oh, he did. What is that?
He,
Is it still like that for people now? Do you know
no,
what is
it's
it
it's
like now
completely
for people?
open.
Oh, it is. Oh, it
I
is. Okay.
I think, and pardon me if I don't know if there's been any changes. I think we're still fighting for some rights for trans people to serve.
Yeah.
But yeah, gay, you can openly serve gay, and you won't
Okay.
be kicked out, or
Oh,
I think there's some protections there. So,
so things have
but no,
changed a little bit. Hmm.
yeah. As soon as they found out that I was gay, it was a deal breaker.
But you know what? In the scheme of things now, if you have a look at it, obviously there was something happening. There was, the wheels were turning, everything was in motion for you to be where you are now, inspiring people, reading and connecting with people through stophercavens.com and talking on podcasts. You haven't been talking on podcasts for very long either, have you?
No, it's been about a year.
Do you have a
Yeah.
podcast of your own?
I tried it. I don't. I do kind of do
Okay.
a little bit of like YouTube live stream and stuff like that. Um, I'm kicking around the idea, but I think it's a little ways out, just because of the logistics of it. And I'm a bit of
Yeah.
a procrastinator, so there's that.
Oh, I love that. That's good. I'm a procrastinator too. I guess I should
It's on the
probably be
list.
letting you go now.
Well,
We've
I
talked
do
for an
want to say
hour.
that's okay. I'm good with it because I'm having fun. Um,
Thank you.
I do want to say one thing because something you said. Um, you said, the wheels were turning and things were happening. So
Yeah.
I won't go into the whole story and some of the interesting stuff around it, but you're absolutely right. Because when I went back to New Jersey for those like 2 months that I was being processed out before I moved back to Indiana, I met somebody,
Mm.
and it was really serendipitous how we met. And there was some other weird stuff that happened in the meantime that lets me know that we were supposed to meet. And we kept a relationship as friends through all these years. And I've lived in like 5 different places, and he's come visit me. Um, and he's actually the person that started me on my journey into
Oh.
spirit mediumship. He called me in 2020 and asked me to help him because I'm a marketer full time. He asked me to help
Mhm.
him market his business as a spirit medium,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's how it all got started. So this whole thing really started back in 2002. I just
Fantastic.
didn't know it
See?
yet.
No, well,
So
that's it. But there was something going on. I knew it. See?
yeah, you are tuned in because when you said that, I was like, he's absolutely right. It did
Yeah.
start back then.
Well, there you go. See? And it hasn't stopped now. You happy where you are?
I love it. I'm very happy.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
main
where I'm
thing.
supposed to be.
I feel that just by looking at your website, reading the things, I've listened to a couple of the podcasts. Well, actually, I shouldn't lie. I've listened to some of the podcasts that you were
That's all you
on.
need. That
It's
makes sense.
hard. Like I said, over the next 4 weeks, I have 32 interviews booked. And that's not the ones that I've reached out to people and said, "Hey, I want you on the show." These are people who have come to me and they want to be booked in and they want to talk on the show. And after those 32, I think I'm going to take a break just for a little bit cuz it's about
You
6
deserve
months worth
it.
of episodes. Yeah.
You deserve it.
It's
Well,
it's
you
a lot of work.
if you ever want to come to LA, you have a place to stay.
Oh, please don't tell me that because I'll be there.
Actually, you would stay in this room. This is my guest room, so yeah. And I
Well, as
sage it
long as
like
that
every day.
camera's
So
not on while
it's
I'm sleeping. Jeez.
of the lights and the camera and the microphone on.
Well, you never know. You never know. I could,
Whatever you're into.
podcast from there. But thank you. I appreciate it. Stopher, it's been such a pleasure. Please, everybody who's listening, go and check it out. Utterlyunscripted.com will have all the links to stophercavens.com and the blog, etc. You can find it all in the show notes and all that fun stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I just do it.
Same. But yeah, no, thank you so much, Jesse, for having me on. This has been a blast.
Thank
I'm
you.
usually up at this time anyway, so
Are you?
just
What
wait.
time is it now?
It's 11:32 p.m.
Oh, shit. That's late.
Yeah, I'm
You're
usually
44. You're
laying in
supposed to be in
bed.
bed already.
Yeah, I'm usually laying in bed, falling asleep to some nonsense on the TV. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I'd
me
rather
too.
be talk. I'd rather be talking to you.
It's so much fun. Do you know what? That's why I do it because I really enjoy it, and I hope that that comes across in the episodes. I try not to edit too heavily. I try to keep it as raw and natural as possible. Um, yeah, just I feel like that's a better experience for people. In the very beginning, I was taking lots of notes and I felt under heaps of pressure to like get it
Mm.
right. But now I've just gone, oh fuck it, I don't care. And I do care, but I don't care about being ultra organized and everything is written in front of me because it took away from the genuine feeling that I wanted for this. And now the way that it is, where you and I are here talking like this, it's all off the cuff. It just floats out of my head and sometimes hits my mouth, other times not so much. Sometimes I get it right, other times not so much. So, but I love it,
Yeah,
and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
likewise. And I think this format really suits you. So
Thank you. Well,
good
come
job.
back sometime.
I will. Invite me back. I'll be on.
Yes, for sure. Open invitation for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Stay there. Stay there.